Welcome to Urban Everyday. We are on a journey of discovering the real United Kingdom, the real UK, one journey at a time. And we explore the hidden gems and everyday London life and generally in the UK. And we do this by visiting cities, we go to countrysides, and we capture the authentic sites, the stories of ordinary people. And yeah, generally let people feel how the UK is like and how people are living here. And so what we say is that we capture the ordinary and celebrate the unique, and we give window into London life. So that's it from Urban Everyday. And for this conversation, you're welcome to our podcast series on A Day in a Life, where we highlight individuals and organizations and what they are doing within the space, within the United Kingdom. So on the back of Valentine's Day coming on the 14th of February, we want to have this discussion. Finding love in the UK, especially for young people, can feel like navigating a minefield. You know, that's a big deal. And I think you know more about it than I do. I'm not the expert in this field, so
I'm not sure about that, but I'll try.
So this Valentine's Day, we're joining Urban Everyday, A Day in the Life, to with Union HQ, a relationship consulting and matchmaking firm, about the challenges and triumphs of modern romance. We'll explore the financial side of dating, the impact of social media, and whether professional matchmakers can really help you find the one. Tune in for insights, laughs, and maybe even a little love advice. Or first, to tell us a bit about yourselves, and then a Union HQ and what you do. What inspired you to start a matchmaking and relationship consulting firm?
Great. Good evening, Joe. Nice to be on the platform. Thank you so much for inviting us today. My name is Sarah Yusuf. I'm an accountant by profession. I'm a wife and also a mother of 4 children. So Union HQ was established much recently, but we have been involved in the relationship game for over 15 years. So we've been in charge of our local church, some couples platform, which we call Couples Aglow. So we organize events and days out and stuff for married couples. In the process of doing that, we always get singles being interested and they feel left out. So based on that demand, we decided to start a singles platform, a more dating platform, because we find a lot of people are looking for love and anything to help with that. And obviously, the more they find love, the more we absorb them into the married couples platform. So Union HQ itself is a bespoke dating agency that was established in 2024. We connect people that are ready for marriage. We don't have time for long time friendships or those kind of stuff. So we basically focus on people that are ready to marry. And we're bespoke and unique in the sense that we interview every single client ourselves. And on top of that, we get references, character reference, so we know who they are, and somebody to verify they are who they say they are. And yes, so we've got quite a few people on our platform. Interestingly, we have more ladies than we have men, so hopefully we'll get into that conversation much later. I'll hand over to Helen.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much, Urban Everyday. Joe, thank you for having us on this program tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, like Sarah said, yeah, this has been going on. Actually, we were dealing with couples for a little while, and then we were getting a lot of complaints from the single ones. That's how come you're not even looking into the single side of the business. So because there's a lot of people out there, and because of our background, of course, we understand that between the two of us, about 50 years of marriage between the two of us. I mean, she's been married for over 20 years. I've been married for over 30 years. So of course, it's not as if we're an amateur in this business, really. So we decided to go into it. I used to run a business in this country for over 25 years. It was a beauty business before I decided to go and finish up in the university to study something more, obviously coming from Africa background and everything. So I did management in in health and social care, the management side of it, which I went to University of Sutherland, London University of Sutherland. That's where I did my degree. And this was over 5-6 years ago. And then now I'm managing a few homes in London at this time. But going back to the business side of the thing, I've been married for over 30 years and I've got
30 years.
three children. Yeah. And, so obviously now we're getting busy with this business now, and it's been quite interesting. Like you said, of course, Valentine is coming and into far right now, looking into a lot of people that are trying to contact. Even up to today, I had somebody calling me that, we tend to have this little chat with them before we put them on our database in order for us to find a suitor for them. And then, and this little chat we tend to have with them, we call it getting to know you chats, which helps us to know the kind of person you are and be able to find you an ideal person for you. So that's really about it for now. And it's something that we're very passionate about. And like Sarah said, we don't have time for people that are looking for just friendship for now. We're looking for people that are ready to marry.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So it's clear that your platform is looking for people that are ready to marry. Yeah, it's a defined niche that you're looking to capture or you're capturing. So that's impressive. And guys, I just want to let you know that, I know these ladies, they are amazing ladies. I know them firsthand. We attend the same church, and they're outstanding people. So this session is actually something that, it's something I believe in, and I've heard them talk about this on a couple of occasions. So I've discussed this with a couple of friends, and it's interesting. So, from what you're saying, there are more ladies on the platform than guys. And the friends I've spoken to, the guys, it seems the guys find it, I don't know, there's a bit of, I don't know, is it skepticism or cynicism? I don't know, but it's like, oh, now I have to get into this platform to look for a girl. And, the whole kind of thing, it makes it look as if they seem to find it to be something that's, I don't know how to put it, but it seems to be something that is not organic in a sense for them. And I don't know what you guys what can say about this. So why do you think this is important? Why is there a need for this kind of platform to help people connect? I know in the UK, I was talking to most of our guys, subscribers the other day, and we're discussing how in the UK there's a lot of people keeping to themselves. So you find everybody is keeping to themselves. So it's a lot of diplomacy to approach someone, to kind of have that kind of, it's not like in Africa or in maybe Latin America or in India or other places where you just meet someone by the roadside, you just have warm conversations and stuff like that. There's a lot more going on in terms of being diplomatic and how to approach someone, and the generation, this recent generation is not also, they are very much on their phones and their gadgets as opposed to being out there in the public, relating to people and trying to meet people. I think recently on the news I heard the mayor of London talking about reviving the 24-hour London life, like the whole evening outing kind of life in London again. And so there's a real concern, particularly in London, I don't know about other parts of the UK, about how most young people are not really going out to interact with people or to meet people, physical people, but have kind of now settled on their phone, and everything has become digitalized. So I don't know if this was your motivation for starting this, but we are really keen to know what led you into this.
So for me, everybody seems to want to talk to Auntie Sarah. That's the way I'm fondly called, Auntie Sarah, like a little agony aunt, with what's going on, because I'm always checking on them, how you're getting on, because I'm a firm believer in getting married, because I think marriage seems to be old school for a lot of this generation now. A lot of them just want to cohabit, they want to be in civil partnerships, and some are just not interested. Could be because of what they've experienced with growing up, their parents' relationship, or a lot of the endurance that their mothers brought, and they thought, no, this is not for me. I'm not going to put up with this. A lot of them would not even hands on that to say, I want to marry somebody like my dad. That's coming from the ladies' perspective. But more from the men's side, a lot of them are looking for somebody like their mom. But that generation seems to have left us behind. I don't think a lot of the ladies are willing to compromise or all that kind of thing. So for me personally, I was more or less matchmaked. So it's like my mom and my mother-in-law were friends, and they thought, oh, how about Femi and Sarah getting together? I thought, okay, so it was to some extent like a match making thing. And that was after I've dated. He's dated as well. We've dated different people. But one thing that they always say, what your parents can see sitting down, even if you stand on a chair, you probably can't see it. Because I'm African, from our African background, we want to tend to know the family. We want to vet the family. What are they like? What is their parents like? What are the siblings like? What is anything funny in their background? So we do all the due diligence that we used to do. But now it's more boy meet girl, we fall in love. If it doesn't work, we fall out of love. If it doesn't work, there's always like that get out clause. But in those days, it used to be marriages for life. So it's a lot of change in the dynamics when it comes to matching people together. So part of what probably made us want to really go into this, because we know so many single people, lovely people, professional people, hardworking, someone you recommend to even your own brother. So why are they struggling to find love is the question. And from what you've mentioned, your friends, saying is a little bit, but a lot of those same friends, I'm sure some of them have tried a few online platforms. Now, the only reason why they probably feel a bit more comfortable with that is because it's behind a machine. They're not talking to human beings. But the fact that you have to face two ladies interviewing you, getting to, know your private information, that might be what is putting a few men off. But for some reason, ladies actually love it. The fact that they've got like an auntie, a big sister, they can, confide in, this is what's been going on. I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? So it's kind of different dynamics. So I'll stop there and let Helen speak about her perspective on that question.
From my side, of course, Sarah covered most of the thing, but I just want to say we are more like, I'm more like, you get to matchmake people that are ready for marriage. And then when people see, of course, with the venting and what's it called? The character references and all that kind of thing. By the time you do that, and we're able to successfully match these people, and the people, it's like she said, it's like an old-fashioned kind of thing that you just want to match make people in the sense that, it's people that know somebody that knows somebody, and it's more or less like you can vow for them. That's it. Very close to something, somebody that you can vow for. That's what this platform is all about. And then when you get to do that, and then the young ones, even though they're very digital, we call them the Gen Z generation and all that kind of thing, when they start seeing the example of this and say, it's actually loving it. And it's not as if they're old people, but they just decided to try a dating site that is more more customized to their need, very close to their need.
Personal.
Yeah. So they might, it will make them change their mind. Because I've seen one or two people that the parents, they were recommending this side for them. And they said, oh, I'm not sure if I'm actually ready. I'm not sure whether I want to do it. But the mom is like, reassuring them that if you give it a go, you can imagine thinking that, oh, I just want to go out there, go to a club or go to a church or meet somebody. And then what if it doesn't work? And then you see that Sister Sarah, like she said, and Sister Helen, they're doing something and it's actually working. It's making the world go around. I think even if you want to say it in any other way, I want to say, marriage is good. Marriage is something that the Lord believes in. Marriage is something that makes the world goes around. And marriage is something that we need to consider because God made them male and female. You understand? So it's important that we think in this line and see if once you start it, it's infectious and contagious, and they will start, falling into it. Oh, perhaps this is more or less, this is the right way to go about it. Because some people tend to share, like Sarah said, a lot of the male, they probably are thinking, I'm not sure if this is the right thing for me. Like they're finding it very difficult. I can remember we had a client recently. He was actually adamant coming for the getting to know you session because it says 2 female. What are you going to ask me? By the time he came, we made him so comfortable in such a way that, he was very relaxed now. And we said to him, you don't have to answer any question or, if you don't feel comfortable too. And at the end of the day, it really worked out really well. So this is what I'm talking about, that, that makes you feel fulfilled at the end of the day. That's, you're able to help someone to find a future partner.
I mean,
I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think you've nailed it. Both of you have really shed light on this for people. So from what I'm getting, the vibe is these are passionate people who are willing to help people to connect. So we see that there is a need out there.
A lot of need.
Yes, and these people are looking for love, as it were, and it's become like a big maze that they are navigating through just to find that one person who'd love them for who they are. But also what we see there is the risk that's associated with all of this search and all of that. So having said that, I mean, so what you do does not take away the risk of dating, because I think maybe for the guys, probably that'll be one thing they are thinking about, because people want to take risk no matter how dangerous we think it is or whatever it is. We want to experience the risk or the adrenaline of having to go chase a girl or a lady having to want to decide or whatever to accept a guy into her life or whatever. So there's still that dynamic of making the decision and all of that. So I don't suppose that you guys just match 2 people or something, but is there still a risk factor in it? Because I feel that people want to know that, and whether
we would not take away the aspects of dating from it. It's up to them. All we do is like, we get your details,
your profile
for you, and then we now put them on the table, and then we try to see how close I think, in terms of the need, in terms of the interest, in terms of the concerns and things like that. And you're able to do that. But once we matchmake them now, it's up to them to now go through the process of having to do the dating part of it, having to gently know one another. We don't just push them together and just say, what, that's it, go and get married. It's just that we just don't want the people that are time wasted, they're not ready for marriage. They come on the site, we talk to them, and you could tell deep down that they're not really ready. We just drop them on the line and say, you know what, the people that we're looking for, because we've got different range of ages, ranging from 25 to 65.
Oh, impressive.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. So it's important.
We even have a lady over 70 that wants to join, but we're not sure we can meet her needs just now.
Yes, age is not it's not a limit.
And just to add to what Helen just said, when we do, after we've had a consultation and we've done your character reference, we tend to offer you 2 options. So if you're still wanting to chase, okay, which one should I go for? You can still kind of decide, okay, I prefer the look of this one. I prefer this one's profile, you know, so you're still choosing. And you can choose as many as you like, but we just don't want you to say, okay, this week I've tried this one, I don't like it. No, no, no. So we will offer you 2. If you're a man, for example, if there is 2 ladies that match your profile, you then decide. So you're still have the bit of the buzz you get from chasing. Okay, this is the one I want to chase, this is one I, you know, so you still have that flair, that buzz. You still get to choose, really. And if none of them, then we'll offer you another 2, then you decide.
Okay, so I guess the dynamic here is that you have a kind of filtered space where the let's say the pool of people on this platform are kind of filtered, and we know that maybe in terms of character, they are this caliber of people and all of that, so that you know that where you're coming, you have a rich pool, just like maybe organizations looking for a rich pool of staff or resource.
Absolutely.
They want to get like a certain caliber of people, so they know maybe which HR consulting firm to go to and stuff like that.
I mean, we just help to whittle down all the people that you're not interested in, so you're not wasting your time. For example, if you meet somebody on the street, they might not tell you a few things straight away, but this, you've gone through the fact that they're single, do they have children, have they been married before? All those kind of natural profile, you've whittled it all down. So there's anything you're not concerned, if you're concerned about, you're not interested in, you've already eliminated that. So you're not wasting your time, you're more focused. Because a lot of our clients, they are ready. So they've done all the messing about. They just like this, I want to settle down, sort of.
Sharp. Woo! It's been a hot one so far. All right. Okay. So now let's go to some generic things. We've spoken a lot about Union HQ. Now let's talk about Valentine's Day in general. So Val's Day is just around the corner, and people are excited. You know, all the gifts and everything. The buzz is on. You know, so what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about love and relationships, and especially around this time of the year? When it comes to Val's Day, there are a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of, you know, things about love and relationships. So what are some of these things that, I mean, from your experience, and like you mentioned, so you're over 30 years, over 30 years in marriage, over 20 years in marriage. I myself have been married for 10 years. Yeah, this year is going to be my 11th year. So yay.
Nice one. To be honest, if you can scale through the first 10 years, you're good.
Absolutely.
I know, right?
Well.
It's been something.
Very well.
A lot of couples don't survive that first 10 years, but once you get over the 10-year hurdle, that's it. You've got your home run.
More grace.
Right. Talking about Valentine, there's a lot of misconception. I mean, you see so many things flying around at the moment. People tend to think Valentine is more for young people, it's just for lovers, is a day to do some grand gesture. You know, naturally, love should be celebrated every day. You don't have to wait till one day, the 14th of February, to celebrate your loved ones. And I mentioned loved ones deliberately. It doesn't have to be someone you're sexually involved with. It could be your parents, it could be your siblings, it could be a close friend. Anyone that you know that you care about really is a day to celebrate them. I mean, the history itself, if we go back, they say in St. Valentine. To be honest, that's not actually proven. We're not sure if this person ever existed or has anything to do with love. Some people said he was there, somebody that was martyred. You know, for them to call it a saint, it has to be something quite grand like that. But it's been such a long time ago. There's no evidence to buttress the fact that it's linked to a saint. But having said that, the main misconception for me, from my experience, has always been, you know, is the day that you can approach somebody you've been eyeing for such a long time. I remember when we were at school, Valentine's Day is when you then start passing notes around. Yeah, that girl you've been eyeing, that man you're hoping. How many cards did you get? How many letters did you get? How many chocolate were you given? It's quite interesting. I love it. But the more you get older, especially if you're married, it's not that. I mean, I don't know what you do with your wife, Joe, but it's not as exciting as it used to be when you were single. Because I remember in those single days, you don't know how many men will send you a card or, something. It's just a nice day to feel, butterflies in your belly. But there's a lot of misconception. Like I said, it's not just for couples. It's not just for young people. It's not just for ladies, because I know a lot of wives actually don't buy their partners anything, but the men are expected to, celebrate and buy you stuff. It's vice versa. It's just a day to show love, to appreciate the people in your life. It's a day set aside just to do something, celebrate one another, celebrate love. And I just wish it can be more of a daily thing rather than one day in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've covered everything. You covered everything. Yeah, I want to say, exactly what I was thinking as well. Because for some reason, we've been working together for such a long time. It's like we think alike. That's what I've realized as well. So it's like, she's actually covered everything.
And particularly too, usually when it gets to around this time, that's when people also tend to want to, especially young ones, want to experiment as well. Okay, let's try out sex, let's try out this, all kind of experimentations and stuff like that. So I guess these are all part of the misconceptions, and people also want to prove their love, especially for the young ones, maybe teenagers and stuff like that. That pressure kind of to want to prove their love and all of that, also
first kiss and all that,
becomes what you compounded around this time of the year. So I think we, like you've rightly said, it's and love, it's not necessarily romantic, or love should not necessarily be romantic. So you can still show love to someone, and it doesn't have to be romantic in nature, so so like,
and don't let anybody put you under pressure.
Yeah.
It's only once a year they now put you under pressure to do certain things you don't want to do. You can still put your foot down and say no.
That's it.
Not interested.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's move on. So next question I have for you, dating in the digital age. So how has technology, particularly dating apps, changed the landscape of dating in the UK? Is it making it easier or harder to find meaningful connections? We've spoken a bit about this in a earlier discussion, but do you think there's anything you'd like to add in terms of how, now there are lots of them, like I mentioned, lots of those apps and online dating apps and sites. So do you feel that this landscape is changing the way dating is happening, particularly in the UK? And is it making it easier or harder to find meaningful connections?
I'll let Helen go first.
Let me, before you come in, I wanted to say that I think, Helen, I mentioned when we went for the first couple at Glow, I was talking about how there was somebody who was crashing on me, not say crashing on me, but I felt that there was somebody, there was what's the right expression? So I received what do you call it, a text message from a stranger, right? And she thought I was somebody else, and then as we were discussing, I was like, oh no, that's not me. And then she's like, oh, okay, so can we be friends? Because she thought it was the other person, and just like, okay, no, that's fine. So we once a while we say hello, hi, and then it starts getting a bit more romantic. It starts tilting in a way, So in terms of the nature of the conversation and all of that, so I started trying to let her know that, I'm married. She's like, oh, okay, I know, but that kind of, I know, but
we can still be friends.
And that makes you uncomfortable as well.
Yes. So as it kept going, I just had to let her know that, oh no, I'm sorry, but I cannot continue with this friendship. And you could say that she could see that she was disappointed. I mean, I think she was in her late 20s, is it 28? Thereabout, and like
She also wonder, was that actually a mistake, or was the person actually was targeting you rather than
yes, I think. Yeah, but you see, I was just talking to my friend before we started this conversation that I feel that most young people there's a trap, right? You need to put yourself out there. But the issue
shoot
is
your
that,
shot, they say.
yes, but the other thing is that there's a temptation or the possibility of reflecting how the way you are received in a way can also, if you're not careful, you project the way you are received as maybe you've been refused, and it can affect your self-esteem.
Rejection, yeah.
And so there is this kind of it's like you have to put yourself out there, but you're not really sure how the reception is going to be and how this whole experience of, in quotes, rejection can be. So I felt that she really felt that like she'd been rejected, and that whole feeling for her was like, yeah, even though I had to let her know, nice, it was a very nice conversation that, oh, I don't think we could be, but I feel that she took it in this kind of way. Yeah, but so that's one of the things I'm thinking, that in this space within the UK, and this was a native, this was not an immigrant, this was somebody who's white and all of that, and you could see that that you could see that kind of feeling from the way the communication went. And I can see it. I mean, I've spoken to quite a number of young people and singles as well. And so you find that projection of rejection and all of that. And now having to translate this into the online or the digital space where it could be, I mean, I think we're going to be talking about the dating fatigue soon. Like, you keep trying to connect to somebody and all of that. So it's a real big issue, So back to the question again, this landscape of dating and in the digital, and is it making it easier or harder?
Is it getting harder? I would say it's a bit of both. You can imagine coming to our platform now. That's why we said, a lot of people that comes to us, it's like being recommended from one family to somebody that knows you very well. So they trust your judgment. You understand? So you can imagine different kind of sites that they have now. You have 3 ladies to a man or 5 to a man. And then the man is looking, oh, I've got the choice of, like we were saying, we will present you about 2 and see whether you like one or the other, and then you have the choice to pick. But the thing is that when you have about 5 to a man, and then the man gets a little bit, spoiled for choice, and then possibly try one, and then come again and say, you know what, I'm tired of this one, and come to. So it's difficult in this digital age. But in those days, once they recommend somebody, like Sarah was saying, her one was like an arranged marriage because the family met together. You can imagine in this day and age, now they said, oh, of course, the 2 of them, they tried to date in the past, but it didn't work out like they wanted. But once this was arranged and they met and they were happy together, and they're still living 20 years after, they're still living happily ever after, So this is the thing. So it's important that we all know what we want and we all work towards it. Because some people, when you're spoiled for choice, you tend to, just want to keep trying, especially from the male side of it, not so much as the ladies. I don't know whether I'm making sense with what I'm saying.
You are. In fact, I mean, this whole thing about keep trying.
Keep trying, yeah.
It's a big thing.
Because you're all for choice.
And I know guys who are ready, but they are confused. That's the thing. The thing is,
because
person is confused.
I've got you got the light skin one, you got the slim one, you got the big one. You know, you are just spoiled for choice, and it makes it more difficult for them to actually say, oh, maybe if I try this one, maybe that one is not very quite good when it comes to cooking. Oh, let me try this one. I'm sure, oh, that one is very presentable. But you know, that kind of thing. So it depending on the individual, you can make it you can make it difficult for yourself, or you can make it just easy for yourself if you're determined to actually deep down inside your heart and pick the right person for yourself.
But we are not
I mean,
saying
just
that
to add
everybody can.
to
Okay. Yeah, Sarah,
what
please. Yeah.
Helen mentioned, when it comes to the online aspect of dating, I think normally if you're going on the street, you meet somebody, or you're going out to a party, you meet somebody, you know, it's more in and far in between. But when you're online, there's a tendency to become addicted.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a big tendency. Okay, you look at this profile, you look at that profile, there's so much choice. And that is, for me, the big problem with online dating. But at the same time, is a positive in the fact that you've got so many choices that you can make, especially people that are tailor-made to your needs or your profile and your wants. But at the same time, you just have to, you know, which comes to, you know, kind of covers that dating fatigue question that we might look into. But then when you look at, because there's these statistics we're looking at how people met in the early 1990s and how people meet now in 2024. There was a whole chart of events and the change. Gone are the days where people meet at college or their neighbors or in church or at school or as a co-worker. But now, amazingly, over 60% of people are more now inclined to go online rather than going out there. I mean, you mentioned earlier on, more and more of this younger generation, they're struggling to socialize. A lot of them now, they stay in front of their computers, they play on their phone, they don't want to go out. You literally have to drag them out of their comfort zone. So I think the way to go future-wise will be mostly now online. They can't even be bothered to go out and dress up and go and meet somebody. You know, they'll rather just, you know, look online, okay, yeah, I'll make an effort and just kind of drag myself and go. So I think it's a bit of both. It's good in the fact that you're open, the world is your oyster. You can meet somebody in Australia, somebody in Nigeria, somebody in Ghana, you know, online. Whereas in those days, how would you have met those kind of people? You only meet people in your local setting, or when you do, you know, travel, you might bump into somebody. So those to me are the different ways of looking at online dating at the moment.
Yeah, and I think so. Thanks for these insights so far. With all of our discussion, it's seeming to me that we are suggesting, or maybe implying, that men seem to be sport for choice, but not women. Is that so? Or are women also sport for choice? Because I don't know in the world, are there more men than women? I think there are more women than men. I think that's a fact.
There is. I
Yeah.
think even biblically, it has said in those days, you know, there'll be so many women all saying, let me just bear your name, let me just have your child, you know. So unfortunately, men are like, you know, in demand at the moment.
Yes.
So don't
Yo,
get
guys,
big
we are
headed.
in
But it
demand.
seems to be that is the way at the moment from all the different people I've talked to as well. But because of that, I think a lot of them as well are, some of them even, I mean, gone are the days where women are the ones that want a soft life. Now, men want soft life. They want to be pampered. They want people to date them as well. You know, it used to be like women are, you know, you're dating a woman, but now they want to be pampered. They want, you know, they want to be cared for. You know, a lot of them are now more spoiled for choice. I mean, you only have to look at them. A lot of men are grooming themselves now. They're getting their nails done, getting, you know, the beard gang, you know, oils and different things, you know, grooming themselves even more because they are in demand. So they want to make themselves more marketable. But having said that, I think the reality is there seems to be more women than men at the moment.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true.
And do you see that changing at all? I doubt it. So I doubt it so much. And it's really, it's quite interesting when you look at it, in the sense that the men, they get so complacent, very complacent. And then, like, when they get complacent, to invite someone to their, to their comfort zone, they find it difficult. Whereas, I mean, we've got people that say, I love to cook. If I can get a man that loves this food, I would love to spoil him with this. That's the thing about them. But men, they just feel it doesn't really matter. Even if you find someone that can cook or something like that, they're just so comfortable in their own, in their own domain. They don't, I mean, having someone to come and stay with them permanently, they're struggling with it.
Because they've been on their own for so long.
And that's right. Possibly because they've been there for so long as well. So they're used to their own environment. They just don't want, okay, if somebody comes now, maybe just come for a little while and then it's all right. When I'm tired, then you can go. That's the real problem now. It's not so much individual needs is what actually makes this thing happen. If you really truly need someone to be with, you work towards it, especially when you have what's it called, a company like Union HQ that it's done to your tailored made. You understand? If you find someone like us that will do it in such a way that very rarely you'll find someone that is not to your taste, but it's individual way of thinking. Maybe I'm not sure what I really need. I can't make up my mind. And this, we actually try to matchmake a couple. Let me give you this example. And then for some reason, in the form, it didn't indicate whether he wants somebody from just in London. We thought he was open to someone abroad as well.
Long distance.
We found someone abroad, and then they connected straight away when we introduced them to one another. But just said, where do you live? Say to the girl. And the girl said, oh, I live in this part of the world. Said, oh no, I want to get married tomorrow if possible. I want to get married next week if possible. I don't want someone that I have to wait for to come and join me here, if anything at all. That's how that connection. So it's like, it's making us even more extra careful in ensuring that, it's a lot of work we're doing in our closet just to make sure that we get someone that is perfect and is right for you.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. I mean, this is just leading us straight into the next session. Wow. We're thinking that this is going to be an hour-long conversation. I think we're almost into an hour into our conversation, but there's still loads of
to unpack.
Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll handle some of this in the live session. Do you think yes, so what I want to find out is what's your take on the hookup culture? Because all of this, I mean, we're talking about the how, like, for example, guys just want to, people have become comfortable in their space. I don't think it's just guys. I think even ladies, I mean, corporate ladies who have
absolutely
gotten into these spaces, they've also become quite comfortable within their spaces and all of that. And so,
because of, sorry to cut you in, from when we started, I mean, from our experience so far, we realized the men are more comfortable in their own space.
Okay.
The women,
than the women. Okay. So, what's your take on the hookup culture versus the desire for long-term relationships? Already, it's been expressed. I mean, from the angle we're coming from, we know that, I mean, like you mentioned, marriage and family, these are closely linked because the families become the basic units of society, or they are the basic units of society. And how do families come about? Through relationships, and long-term relationships, as it were, marriage kind of flows into this family units, which leads into societal, the society and all of that. So, yeah, so, but the hookup culture is is something that it's like, what's your take generally on it? I don't think we spend a lot of time here, but yeah, just briefly.
Okay, so hookup culture, just for the benefit of some people that might not be clear on what that's about, is the idea of when you think casual sex is acceptable and is more or less encouraged, though they don't have any expectation of committed relationship. Is like what they used to call like a one night stand culture. I mean, I personally, I won't encourage that at all. I firmly still believe in the monogamy and the monogamous nature of marriage and relationship. I think it's quite important you get to know somebody. But unfortunately, this generation, not like I want to generalize, but more and more people, the younger ones, seem to think it's okay. There's no strings attached. You meet my needs, I meet your needs. And they're not actually ashamed of the body counts. Gone are the days you'll never ever mention how many people you've been with. Even if you're getting married to somebody, your past is your past. You don't want to, divulge that information. But now, some of them are actually quite proud of saying, yeah, I've had 5, I've got 10, I've got, the experience. But as Christians, which is who we are, I wouldn't encourage that at all. I think I still believe in abstinence. It's the best way forward. Also, just keep it holy. Your body is a temple of God. Keep it holy as much as possible. I know I'm not sure they would listen to that advice. So in case you have to, just always make sure you protect yourselves to avoid STIs and unwanted pregnancy.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Now, I want us to go into some specific, the finances, because I know Union HQ is not it's not free to be on Union HQ. Neither is it free to be on Tinder or Bumble or any of these other platforms. So let's talk about the financial aspects of dating. How much do you think young people should budget for dates? And are there any creative and affordable date ideas you can suggest?
Wow, that's an interesting question. We never actually thought of it like that. I was just thinking, of course, when you have a kind of site like this, you have different range of people, different caliber of people. Some people are very well to do. We have doctors, lawyers, we have social workers, we have IT specialists, all this kind of people. So depending on, like we say, when you're matchmaking them, of course, you have to matchmake them according to their taste as well. You have to think along that side instead of just dumping them on somebody. So it's a lot of work you have to put together and just, but when it comes to taking someone out on a dating, we don't specifically tell them, this is what you need to do. Of course, we want them to use their initiatives, I mean, it's always good because they're all grown-ups. They're not young people that you have to, in as much as we hold their hands all the way through before we join them together, there's certain things we expect them to use their own initiatives to be able to carry out something like that. And of course, when you're talking to someone, you will kind of suspect the kind of taste the person has got, the kind of places the person would like to go. And it's all part of the things that make you get to know who you're going to be with or spend the rest of your life with. So that would determine the places you will share together in common, some places you want to go and possibly go to explore. Because I remember, I just tell you the story of my daughter. I was telling her one time, her boyfriend, they used to go almost everywhere when they hear about this kind of restaurant, beautiful, the food, they've tried Italian, they've tried all manners. I said, I think you should start a blog. I start telling people about, because they'll come and say, Mommy, oh, the food is really nice, that kind of thing. And then you'll be wondering. So I told them, maybe you should start this kind of thing, because the two of them, they always come back with some exciting stories. Sometimes they come, oh my goodness, this don't ever, take anybody to that kind of restaurant. It was horrible. But then you come back and say, oh, this one is, so when you get to know someone and after spending time together, we'll be able to know the kind of taste each other, the two of you have in common, and you will determine where you go and how you will be able to budget yourself to your own kind of, if you're going to spend your lifetime together. If you're spending money on food now, how are you going to put money together? Maybe if you want to buy a house together, to create a home together. So these are things you need to think about. But we definitely don't tell them exactly where to go and what to budget for.
I mean, I think for just to do like a generic answer, not so much Union HQ. I think it depends on the age of the people going out, because I find younger people tend to spend more than slightly more mature people. Also, it depends on your location or where they go. If you're in London or you're outside London. And also depending on the options you go for. So if you decide, there's some cheap date ideas that you can go for a walk. You can meet in a park. You don't have to go to a fancy restaurant. You can attend free events. Maybe there's like a networking event. You can decide, oh, let's go together. Those kind of things that would reduce the cost. I think on average, you probably spend between 20 and 60 pounds in the UK to take somebody on a date, depending on where you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing these. Before we go to the specifics on the Union HQ, right? I would like to say, find out your thoughts on how to navigate the awkward conversation about money in a relationship. Because I think in the UK it's much more. I don't know if it's much more a norm that you split the bills and stuff like that. Isn't it? Yeah. Or but yeah, so is it I'm not sure it's an awkward conversation, but maybe it is. But what are your thoughts on it?
Depending on your background, where you're coming from and how, if you're very, very English, pardon me, but for that word, you tend to, you swing on the side of splitting your bills, because that's what they're used to. But if you go, even when you go online, you see a lot of people when they date African men, they say they spoil them rotten. They don't, in fact, you wouldn't dare ask them that, I'm fine if we need to split the bills. They'll feel offended. Yeah. You understand? So, like I said, it's depending on your background, really, where you're coming from, your beliefs as well.
So it's cultural.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can have that conversation. I don't think it's an awkward conversation. And I don't think it will be rude if the man wants to split the bill, or you can even have that conversation before you go to the restaurant, because that can determine what restaurant you go to. Because I find a lot more of these younger ladies, they want to,
be spoiled.
They want to be spoiled. They want this, they want that. But at the same time, I don't think they should put men under pressure. But the men want to show up. They want to show, I can take care of you. I can, but if that is not sustainable, you might as well just lay your cards out now. If we decide to go to this place, we're going to split the bill. Is that okay? And that might be a deal breaker for some ladies. They might think, boy, you're so cheap. If you can't pay for the bill, sorry, I'm gone. We're not having a second date, And like Helen mentioned, it depends on where you're from or your culture. I find if you're in Nigeria, for example, or you're in Ghana, a lot of men want to show up like, I'm the don, I want to spoil you. I'm going to, treat you right, open the door, buy you the food, pay for everything, I even bring you a gift. But I think they're not that generous over here. So your expectations needs to be managed.
Having said that, I mean, there's some, even those we're talking about, depending on your background, your culture, there's some African people, men, of course, obviously, depending on their budget as well, themselves, when you're about to go out with a lady, so like from top to toe, you assess the lady and just think she might be, you know, and then you start creating some stories around where you're meant to go. So you need to be very careful. At the same time, that's why you need to be streetwise in terms of who you're dating, how you, I mean, don't just let them tell you a story and then you just fall into it. You know, you get to a restaurant, by the time they give you the bill, the man said, I'm going to the toilet, and it doesn't, you know, so yeah. So you need to be very, very careful, because some people will portray themselves as if I've got everything. But by the time
I
you
think
get
the lesson there, if you're going on a date, make sure you have enough money to pay for yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, so whether you now split the bill or somebody else pays for it, but cover yourself and make sure you have enough funds to settle whatever you've ordered.
Yeah. Because some of them will borrow the outfits they're coming to take a lady out for the night. You know, even the lady probably will do the same as well, just to prove that I'm not a cheapskate, you know? So all those things you need to be very, very wise about, and in your decision, and be very sensitive to anything someone tells you, so that at least, not that you're oversensitive you create a story even before they start, but just be careful and ensure that, like Sarah said, have your money on you. So at the end of the day, you don't fall.
And that includes the money to get back home if you have to take an Uber or take a cab, just in case it doesn't work out and you don't want to be in their company and you need to leave on your own. Make sure you have enough funds to be able to make sure you pay for your food and get yourself home safely.
Yeah.
Good tips, good tips, good tips. Now let's come back to Union HQ. So I just want to get the details about, I mean, if you could share a bit with us, depending on how much information you want to divulge, about the funds. You know, we're talking about finding and funding your match. So what does it entail to fund? You know, I know all these channels and all these platforms, there are lots of costs involved. I mean, aside the subscription and all of that, and then there are lots of costs involved. But what's the dynamic in terms of Union HQ? Generally, what's your thoughts on the before you go specific, but generally your thoughts on the funding bit of finding your match? Do you think it's come to stay, or do you think it's just passing through?
I think with anything, if there's an opportunity, there would definitely be funding involved. Hence why more and more platforms are being opened. Like we mentioned at the beginning, ours was born out of passion. Passion to make sure people are matched, people have happy homes, because I think it's important you choose right and you marry right, because that can actually change the trajectory of your life. If you marry the wrong person, that's it. No matter how educated, how beautiful you are, but if you marry right, that can propel you to great and wonderful things. And I think it's crucial you marry right. Talking about Union HQ, I think we're one of the cheapest on the market, if I'm being honest with you, for the service you get. We only charge £100 for joining fee, and that is a one-off. You don't have to keep paying that every month, because I know a lot of these dating platforms, you do a subscription on a monthly basis, and we charge only that £100 once a year. So, but we're hoping you would find love within that 1 year, and you probably won't have to be there again next year. But for some reason, if you're so choosy or you haven't found somebody, then you will pay that on the anniversary of your first year. So we don't charge anything else apart from that. But when you do then find love, now you found the love of your life, you found the bone of your bone, you found the one that makes your heart go doom, 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 and butterflies everywhere. We will charge you for that connection. Just like when you recruit somebody, there's normally a recruitment fee. In most cases, it's like 20% of your annual salary. So on average, you pay about £5,000 on recruitment. The same way where you're looking for a property, you go on all these right moves and all that, you pay a finder's fee to the estate agent. So for us, we charge £500 per couple. That means we charge the man £250 for the man and £250 for the woman. So together, you only pay £500 when you.
That's cool.
Which to
I
me,
thought it was £1,000.
No.
Thank you.
No, not at all. So the main thing is make sure people are happy.
Yeah.
We're not, I mean, if you then think, oh my God, this man is amazing, I can't believe you're only charging me 500 and you want to give us £5,000, that's absolutely fine as well. As long as we get an invite to the wedding, we're happy.
We're happy.
That's lovely. So, in fact, I was discussing this with somebody, and the person asked the question. The person was like, "So, how can you ensure?" I don't know if I should be asking you that, but like, how do you ensure that maybe, I mean, if I find the person, I'll come back to you and pay that money? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, if I run away with the hair, or I don't come back to you guys again, or something, is there a means of ensuring this, or like, I don't know, but because he
We'll let
asked
you
me,
deal
so I
with the
want to ask you.
conscience. Like she said, Sarah, so we let you deal with the conscience. We set this up because of the passion. And all we want is just a happy. Imagine going away with a person and you're having such a wonderful time together, and then you're holding on to that fee, the last fee that is giving you that joy. We let you deal with it. I don't think we will just get somebody to run after you, because at the end of the day, it's all about passion. It's not so much. I mean, of course, because of our troubles, we're trying to
A
ask
business,
for
after all.
fee, yeah, regarding, but really and truly, it's not something that we just run after you for.
And marriage is built on trust anyway. So for you to be that fraudulent, you're not setting your home or your marriage on the right path.
Absolutely.
And karma will catch up with you at some point. But to be honest, I am trusting that we still have good people with good standing and morals that would not do that. But it's a valid question. From the business point of view, it's a valid question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he asked me, he was like, okay, so what if I
Yeah, trust people to always look at that loophole.
I know.
But we'll probably tighten that up at some point. But for now, I think it's just the joy of connecting people.
Exactly.
That's a big enough price for us.
Right. So I love some few highlights I picked up. Choose right, marry right, happy homes, happy life.
That's right.
You join Union HQ, you find love within a year. Find love in 1 year. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
This could actually be a catchphrase, find love in 1 year.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so as we're rounding up, let me see, because I don't think we can do all the questions. They are two packed. Let's see. Val's Day commercialization. We can skip that. Any tips for, okay, yeah. Any tips? I think you've shared some tips already, but maybe if you have any other tips, any tips for making Valentine's Day special without breaking the bank? I think we've shared some tips already.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, you can do a date night. That is always cheap. Dress up at home, cook something, light some candles, get the kids to bed early if you've got kids. I think that would be quite nice. Watch a movie together. Do like an indoor picnic. There's a lot of that online now. When it comes to cards, I find people spending £5-10 on cards. You can write a love letter. That good old-fashioned love letter. That we used to get in those days that we hide in a box, hide from everyone. Write a poem. Something more romantic, something personal. Cook for each other. I think those are good tips that we can do without breaking the bank.
Awesome. Okay, so now to a bit more core questions, right? Like, so for example, what are the key ingredients for a successful and lasting relationships? Let's do some quick touch up on this. We can't really digest all of these, but just a quick touch up on these ones, and then we say bye for now. So key ingredients for a successful and lasting relationship. Because I recall I was speaking to a single lady. I've been doing I think relationship is one of my things. I'm also very passionate about helping people find love, and even guys, sometimes they are afraid to approach ladies, and some ladies can be intimidating. I mean, if I weren't bold, I wouldn't have proposed to my wife, because she was, and she still is. So it's if it can be quite intimidating for guys to approach a lady and propose to, or even get to pop that question and all of that. So it gets to a point where you need to really understand the dynamics in terms of characterize, even temperaments and all of that. And have understanding emotional intelligence or reading into all of these things. So the ingredients for a successful and lasting relationship, what would it be? What could be some of the key things that we can do to even, for example, even transitioning, and you realize that most people who marry, sometimes your friends are actually the ones that end up being your wives or husbands. Sometimes the people you really would settle with are around, but we sometimes don't look at those people, but they are the key people that eventually we settle with. But how do we transition from this maybe platonic or casual friendships into romantic relationships? Or how do we also keep successful relationships and lasting relationships?
I think one of the major key ingredients is communication. It's really, really important. Communication in the sense that I'm not saying you should bring out all your bad history or things that has happened to you, but when you communicate to one another, you get to know the person more, where the thick or the area that kind of, and then it's important that you see when they can get upset. That area is very important. If you can see how they express themselves when they're upset, that's one thing. And this is, you can get to do this through communicating with a person. Ask them, even if it's not something that you've done to them to provoke that aspect of their life, but at least ask them questions, get to know a lot about them, the family, the background, how they grew up and everything, because I mean, I've heard about relationships that, if a woman is doing better than a man, they're not very comfortable, even though they're very compatible. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's if let's say a woman is maybe earning more or
exactly,
maybe
or
the
she's
guy.
very ambitious. There's some men that are very complacent.
Mm.
I mean, I'm fine, I've studied, I'm okay, but the woman just wants to keep going. Anywhere there's money, they're looking for it. Anywhere there's business, you see them there. But this one will just say, it doesn't matter, and then sometimes some men don't mind, but some will say, I don't think I can cope with a woman like this, even though you're getting on in every other aspect of it. So when you communicate the kind of person you are to somebody that, I don't like to just sit in one place. I don't want to be a housewife. I don't want anybody to just prevent me from doing the things that I feel that can, empower me for, something that make me better, that kind of thing. So it's important. Communication is really good. It helps you to know one another and knows the kind of person you're dealing with.
Okay. So, Sarah.
There's obviously a place for physical attraction, dating one another. You date, you get married, and you stop dating. I think you can still carry on dating even within marriage or within a long-lasting relationship. But I think a lot of people tend to think love is the main thing that would give them a lasting relationship. But don't forget, when we look at, even in the Bible, it says that it's not so much you marry somebody you love, but the Bible encourages you to love the person you have married. I'll repeat that. It's not you finding somebody you love and marrying them, but whoever you end up marrying, make sure you love them. That's the rule. So having ways of loving one another, their love language, there's no point you saying your love language is money, 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 but the person might want words of affirmation. So understanding the person you're with and loving them the way they want to be loved. So understanding their love language and using those. So it could be words of affirmation, reminding them how beautiful they are, how much you love them, how much you love their cooking, the way they dress, those words I think mean a lot to some people. Whereas some people, their love language is money. Buy me gifts, give me cash, take me out, all those kind of things. It could be. So making sure you understand your partner's love language and applying those love language. But I think the main one for me too will be communication, because everything revolves around communication. Communicating in the love language is communication. even having romantic encounters in the other room, that is part of communication. So it's communication, communication, communication. Amen.
Thank you. Just to add to it, there's this love triangle that's made up of commitment, intimacy, and then passion. And so these three,
like that.
the love triangle, and then we know it usually starts with passion. That's at the onset. You're so passionate and all tingles everywhere. But eventually, passion is very high at the onset, and then seems to fade as the relationship goes on, and you need to flame it. I mean, fan a flame. And then commitment starts on commitment, and intimacy, on the other hand, starts very low at the onset, but they grow over time. Yeah. And so those are things that worth mentioning as well. Yeah, so we are rounding up. Do you believe there is one true love for everyone?
Ooh.
These are the tricky questions now.
To be honest with you, I've always believed that there's one true love for everybody. But knowing what I know now, in my grand age now, I can genuinely say not everybody is destined for marriage. Marriage is not for everyone.
That's
Because
interesting.
marriage, like you mentioned, it involves a lot of commitment, a lot of sharing, a lot of, making time, sharing your time, sharing your money, sharing everything. Is the big vow to love and to cherish all that I have I give to you. All that, it's a lot.
Because I love my space.
Exactly. There's sharing everything. That's why I think it's not for everybody. Some people are so used to having their space, even sharing your space with somebody, sharing your bed with somebody. So from me, as much as I know there should be one true love for everybody, but marriage is not for everybody. That's my submission.
Ellen, any thoughts? Oh, that's it.
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. All right.
There might be, but sometimes it's very difficult to get that person. I don't know whether I'm making sense. I would like to agree with Sarah, but I'm thinking that even if there's somebody out there, to get to that connection, only a very divine, an extremely divine connection that can bring that about. But truly, it's quite a difficult one to say, because there's always one thing that you are not completely compatible about. There's always one thing. And I won't call that a true love. Let's say it's just something like you said, compassionate and commitment. And when you work on all those things, it will make, and then compromising in things, will actually connect you better. And then you see that you continue to live in love and in one harmony. But usually, if I say there's something like that out there that's spot on, I really,
there's no perfect somebody anyway.
Yeah.
I personally don't think there is. We're not perfect ourselves, but it's somebody really is just finding somebody that can live with your imperfection, finding somebody that is willing to forgive you on a daily basis, because it's a long journey, especially if you're committed to going for the long run. And for me, my final submission will be, love is a beautiful thing. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It's just finding the right partner, because that can change the whole dynamics and the trajectory of your life. Hence why Union HQ is here to help you to narrow down and help you find that love. Marriage is a beautiful institution full of joy and happiness, and just sharing your life with somebody, having somebody there, because loneliness is a bad thing. Loneliness is killing a lot of people. It's leading so many people to depression. But you can also be lonely in marriage if you don't marry the right person, which is even worse, because you feel you're caged, you're like in a prison. Absolutely. So it's extremely important that you marry right, and we're here to help. And marriage is a beautiful thing.
That's right.
I wish that for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's been a wonderful conversation. It's
Definitely.
been a very deep one. I think we've touched on lots of subjects. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Your last thoughts, if there are any, about, now when people are looking for a marriage, there are different things people look for. But some are looking for height, some are looking for, I don't know, money, some are looking for, I don't know. But do you think that there are certain core things that, I don't want to say, for lack of a better word, like fundamental things which are critical to a successful relationship that people should look out for, and maybe some peripheral or things that are not core, or I don't know if you're getting my question, but
Yeah,
are there certain core things that people should look out if you are single and you're out there and you're looking for a meaningful relationship? Are there certain core things that you should pay attention to? And what are some of these core things that you should pay attention to? Yeah, just to help, especially the young ones out there who don't know what to look out for when they are thinking about getting into a relationship. I know this might be a tough one, but yeah, it's a
From
fine.
our experience so far, I must say, we've had quite a lot of people talking about appearance to start with. Of course, in order for you to connect with someone, you need to be happy with the way they look. Trust me, in order for you to now consider every other thing. If there's somebody doesn't look good by your side, and we keep saying, look at the inner beauty. Don't think of the appearance. But you'll be amazed that a lot of people, especially this Gen Z generation, when they talk, I remember when my daughter was telling me, Mommy, if you find anybody in your closet that is like Anthony Joshua, just bring them my way. You know?
Tall,
This what us,
dark, muscular.
Exactly. She was telling me hours. So definitely people like that, before you say anything, she'll consider the appearance first. So, and I'm getting more and more of people like that. So very rarely you see people say, oh, I don't mind as long as the person loves the Lord.
They love God. They always say that.
They always say that. Thinking that every other thing will come with it. So I think one of the major things that we've seen from our experience, I believe Sarah will agree with me, is obviously the appearance.
Okay, so for me, apart from the fact that the appearance and somebody that loves God, I think whatever your religion is, I think it's quite important for somebody to be accountable to a higher being. I think that is quite important. I know Gen Zs are not looking into that to some extent, but I think it's something fundamental that we should look at. But for me personally, and I've always said this, and I would always say this, always marry somebody that is kind. Kindness is key for me, because life is such a long journey. It is full of ups and downs. There'll be time you'll be down. There'll be time you'll be weak. There'll be time you might even be sick. And this is where the future of kindness comes in. If somebody is kind, they will not mistreat you. They will not bully you. They would love you. They will care for you regardless. So I think kindness, the way they treat other people around them, the way they treat their siblings, the way they treat their parents, be observant. Look at all these red flags. Somebody that is angry, you don't want that. The minute they display any form of anger, it could escalate to physical violence. It could be emotional torture. There's so many narcissists out there as well. Just open your mind. And at the same time, have an open mind as well. Don't judge anyone based on your previous relationships. Because a lot of people carry baggages from, that person treated me this way. This time, the next person is going to get the brunt of it. No. Every new relationship starts on a clean slate. Give people the benefit of the doubt. And just pray and hope for the best. And I always believe you yourself, if you're a kind and a loving person, you would find somebody that is similar and suited to you.
Wow. I mean, I think this nails it. I think that's it. That's it. So thank you so much for spending an hour and a half. Yeah,
wow.
of
That's
your
gone quick.
valuable time with us. And thank you for sharing all your insights, and also for giving us like a sneak peek into Union HQ, what you do, your passions and all of that. And yeah, I mean, you guys listening to me, these are real people. I just want you to know that these are authentic people. They've spent several years in relationships and currently are settled they've been settled reasonably and in a loving relationship for 50 years cumulatively. So that's from experience. They have something that they are sharing with you. And like they said, the platform is very refined, distilled, filtered. So the people on their portfolio are people that you find very reasonable, kind, like Sarah said, nice people that you want to hang out with. So check them out and explore. So from us at Urban Everyday, you can
Sorry,
receive
just before you go, I just wanted to put it out there, the way we operate. So if you are interested, you can reach us on all our various platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, or you can reach us on our phone numbers, which I'm hoping you will share at some point when you put these platforms together. We will share with you. It's just a basic form you need to fill in, and we will reach out to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. So let me just So yeah, we're gonna share it. We'll share.
Yeah, and there's a link on that flyer I sent you as well that you can click
So we'll
on.
share the details with all of you. You said, and also you find the details, the links, and all of that in the description of this video. All right. So guys, ciao. Thank you so much. It's been great having you. We're hoping to have you for a live one where you can have direct interaction with people like there and then. So if
absolutely fine,
that's
we're game.
Yeah. So cheers.
Bless you. Thank you.
Wonderful evening.
So much.
Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.